Yo, 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 what is up? What is up? Welcome to another episode of the Urban Renaissance Man. And I am your gracious host, Mr. Adrian Lawson. Now, this is the premiere of a segment on my show that I call the Renaissance Race Rants. And on this first segment of this show, I am going to talk about some racial issues and get on a more serious note because I think it's very important. So for this first Renaissance Race Rant, I am going to talk about the importance of taking racism seriously, because I find that a lot of times in our community, when there's topics that involve race and racism, many people throw them to the wayside and they say things like we don't have a racial problem, that we've made racial progress, and that there's no problems with race in America anymore, and that we live in this utopia of a society. And this is just not the case. And I want to play you all a clip of a suspected racist teacher down in Florida who had a podcast where she was talking about how different races have different IQs and how certain races have higher IQs than others. You get where I'm going with this? So, I'm sure as you know, some of the rhetoric was that whites have a superior IQ than black people. And these are the people that I focus on because I am a black person, an African person. So I'm going to play you this clip. It's on NBC of this teacher.
Tonight, social studies teacher Diana Volatich is suspended from this Florida middle school after it was revealed she secretly hosted a podcast embracing white supremacist ideas.
So many other researchers have already looked into this, and that's just the way it is. There are races that have higher IQs.
First reported in the Huffington Post, 25-year-old Volatich used a pseudonym, Tiana Dolokhov, often discussing what she sees as the failings of the education system, on her podcast called Unapologetic. Meredith Blakely's daughter is in Volatich's class.
They were talking about segregation in a civil rights type of capacity, and the teacher somewhat alluded that segregation might possibly be okay.
In her podcast, Volatich says the principal asked her about sharing political bias with students.
The principal came to me and she was like, "I'm not worried. Should I be worried?" And I'm like, "No." And she believed me and she backed off.
In a statement from her lawyer, Volatich denies being a white nationalist and promoting her political beliefs in class, adding about her podcast, "I employed political satire and exaggeration, mainly to the end of attracting listeners and followers."
Now, let's stop right there. So, let me put my Mac and music back on so I can spit. So, she says that she said these things for political satire. So she's making fun of them. It's a joke. It's that type of thing. Oh, it was political satire. I'm making fun of the idea. I'm not being serious. And I find that many suspected, racist people, they do this. There's another guy named Richard Spencer. Now, he is the leader of the alt-right. Now, this woman, she is associated with those alt-right people. And he also says this same type of rhetoric, like, oh, it's political satire, it's a joke. And there was a speech that he did where some of his listeners, his people, were actually holding up Nazi signs at the speech, like clear as day Nazi salutes, like, and saying Hail Hitler, the whole nine. He said that this was political satire and a joke, and that they weren't being serious about it. And see, this is the trick bag, because this is how they trick people. Because see, here's the thing, understand, they always try to minimize their racism. And black people, we have to be very aware of these so-called jokes. Because here's the thing, many of us think that, oh, this is so stupid, it's so absurd. How could someone believe that, another race is superior to another as far as IQ? Because when you listen to it, it sounds absurd. It sounds stupid. But you have to understand that these people who say these kind of comments, they have massive followings. They have huge followings. And this whole idea that blacks having lower IQs has been around for a long time. And this teacher, she actually alluded to that. Really, the first guy to really bring this out was a guy named William Shockley. Now, he was a professor at Stanford. Now, he was really the first big guy. I mean, it was around for longer than that, even going back to slavery times, that blacks having low IQ. But he was the first guy to really try to intellectualize this. And he was a professor at Stanford, and he brought this whole idea out. And there's also guys now like Jared Taylor. He's another one. He has the same rhetoric, the same ideas as Shockley and this teacher. Now, Jared Taylor just recently was on Baked Alaska's show. Now, this is another YouTube channel. It's called Baked Alaska. Now, he is a white nationalist. Now, Baked Alaska has thousands of subscribers. Thousands. Now, he's a very big name on YouTube. He gets thousands and thousands of hits every week. So you see that these things are not a joke. You have people, thousands of people all around the world who listen and believe this kind of rhetoric. So we cannot blow this off as just something that's no big deal, because it is a very big deal. And we have been tricked historically to believe that is a joke, even going back to Jim Crow. See, understand, the Jim Crow was actually a minstrel show. Jim Crow was a minstrel character. It was also like a type of dance that black people used to do in the South. So the Jim Crow was also a joke. The same type of thing. Oh, it's just a joke. It's a minstrel show. It's satire. So, and you see that they named laws that disenfranchise black people, the Jim Crow laws. So you can see this joke became actual policy. And these are the kind of things that will happen if us as black people don't recognize these things and call them out. All right? But anyway, that has been today's episode, the premiere of the Renaissance Race Rant. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Also, you can email me at theurbanrenaissancemanpodcast@gmail.com. And I'm about to get out of here. I'll holler at y'all later.